Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. My name is Tara, and today I have 4 different projects for you, and some of them are going to be showcasing the decoupage papers that were on my last video. Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs always says whenever you see these little folder or photo things, pick them up because you can cut those off. And I had a bunch of salvaged pieces left over from a project that I had, and I didn't quite know what to do with them, didn't want to throw them away. So I found this photo holder at a thrift store and was like, oh, this will be perfect. So just drilled some holes in the top there, used my hot glue gun, stick it down in there, and I'm just going to take the glue off because I am going to, you can see my cut line. So I have my antiquing wax mix that I've made from some of the antiquing wax from Walmart and a little bit of black paint and water. And that's just going to darken up that wood a little bit, make it a lot older looking instead of all those new fresh cuts. So once those are dry, these are ready to go. And I love putting like old vintage photos in them. You can use postcards, you can do all kinds of really cool things with them. And so this next one is this decoupage paper from Decoupage Central that I just got in. Gorgeous. So it's called Pumpkins with a Floral Vase, I believe. And I thought it was just so pretty as is. I did not want to do anything to it except pop it in a frame. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out to the size of the board there. And I did paint the board with White Swan from DIY. That way it has that bright background to make all those colors pop really well. And then instead of decoupaging it on, I'm going to use the Elmer's spray adhesive. And I'm going to just glue this right onto that. That way it's going to dry really quick and I don't have to wait for it. And then I had this frame, and in my stash I have a ton of frames that I need to use up. So I thought, well, this is a nice cool wood frame. We're going to go ahead and paint it with a couple coats of the DIY White Swan. And then I'm going to use a wet baby wipe to distress all those really cool carved details back out. And I think this just turns out so beautiful. I love these upcycles. They're quick and easy, and it makes such a huge difference. So let me know what you guys think. And like I said, I do have these available on my website. It's thereclaimedranch.com. And I think my last video I had like 34 new decoupage papers in. And again, I've made another order, so I've become a little bit obsessed with the new ones that are coming out. They're just gorgeous for fall, and I can't help myself. So anyway, I do like using the DIY paint line when I'm going to do like a wet distress because it is reactivated with water, so it makes the distressing so easy, so quick, and I don't have to use sandpaper or anything. So like I said, I just get a baby wipe, and it makes this process look so much more natural than the sanding does. If you have like a hard base paint or one with a sealer already in it, like the Fusion line, then I go ahead and use a sandpaper because it will be way harder to distress without using a sandpaper. So yeah, this is awesome. It just makes it look like it's aged and worn and has, stood the test of time. But it just is so cool. Love this technique. And because this is a clay-based paint and it reacts to water, you want to make sure to seal it really well. And so I'm going to be using the DIY Big Top. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, which is kind of what I wanted for this frame. And so I do end up doing 2 coats of the big top all along this entire frame to give it a good seal before putting in my picture. And so I'm going to go in with the liquid patina, and I am going to seal the top of it. Now I used the Elmer spray adhesive to put it on there, but I do need to seal it just to keep from like any kind of splatters getting in there and staining it. Even though it's an indoor decor piece, I do want to make sure to seal it and get any areas that the spray adhesive did not get. So I'm just going to make sure all the corners are down, and then everything is all sealed up before placing in our frame. And I do not have a glass piece for this frame, but I kind of like it that way because it gives it more of that matte finished look. So I'm just going to flip it over, put it inside, and it just had these little staples in there basically holding it in, which I thought was fine. So I'm just going to push those down, and then this is complete. And look at how gorgeous that is. I just love it. So let me know what you guys are thinking. You can put any decoupage paper in something like this and use it for your fall decor and then switch it out for Christmas. And so this third project that we have is these little tags I got in my Sonnets Maker box from Sonnets Garden Blooms. And I thought I could make some little fall tags. So I'm going to go ahead and with the DIY White Swan, anytime you use decoupage paper, you want a nice bright background. That way the images will pop nicely. If you don't, you can just use your wood tones and it will kind of give it more of an aged, vintage, darker feel to it. But I like to use the bright white so I can get all of my colors to pop, especially these really pretty fall ones. So I'm going to just put 1 coat each on these little tags here. And once those are dry, then we can go ahead and choose our little fall decor piece from the decoupage paper called, I believe it's called Fall Squares. It was another new one that I got, and I knew the minute I saw that one, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, and it just goes perfectly. These little tags are so cool. You can use them for, like, if you have a nice vase with some florals, you can put a tag hanging down. I can drape these over some pumpkins. You can kind of just fit them in the decor anywhere, and they will look really amazing. So that's what I love about these, is they're super simple, yet they make an effective decor piece. So here's that paper, that decoupage paper called Fall Squares, and you get so many of these cool designs, and they're so pretty, and they correlate with each other with the colors. So I'm just going to go in with DIY's liquid patina. I'm going to go, because they're so small, I'm just going to do the entire thing and then just pop them on there. And I'll do 1 coat underneath, and then I'll do 1 coat on top. I'll let them dry completely, and then I am going to use my little finger sander to take the excess paper off. I think I used some scissors first to get most of it off, but then I used my little finger sander to get all the little details. I love that thing. Let me tell you what, it's like always my go-to, that little finger sander, and it is in my affiliate links if you're interested. So the backside I did not paint, so I thought, well, because these are fall tags, I want to make it a little bit more darker wood tone. So I'm just going to go in with some DIY's dark wax and paint it on there, paint it around the edges, even bring it onto the paper a little bit and kind of give it more of that aged look. And then I'll use my little shop towel to wipe off the excess, and then these are pretty much done. I do have that little round piece of brown leather to the left of my hand there. That's going to be my little ties for the top part. You can use ribbon, you can use twine, you can use different types of ropes, you know, whatever your heart desires as far as that goes. But I just thought leather with that rich brown tone would be really cool for these tags. So I am going to go just cut them into little pieces. Now this kind of leather is a little bit harder to deal with, but I'm just going to loop it around, put the 2 ends through, and then go back through it so that it ties it against the wood tag there. and it kind of sometimes has a mind of its own, but different types of leathers, if you get the really soft stuff, would be easier, I think. But I still like the way this turned out. I'm just trying to use what I have on hand. So once we get these done, you can leave them with the tags sticking up as they are, or you can, again, make a little knot at the top to hang it onto something. So the final project for today is I had this little wooden stool. I believe I got it from the bins, so it was like next to nothing. And look at this mushroom decoupage paper. Isn't this so stinking cute? So it didn't sell for the springtime, so I thought, well, let's take it home and upcycle it for the fall then. That's sometimes what you gotta do. So I'm gonna just flip it over, trace out what I need on that paper, cut it out, and then the last Sonnets maker box that I got, she does give samples of different paints, and she gave us the DIY paint in the color crinoline. I absolutely fell in love with this color. It's so pretty. It's like in between like a crockery color and a light tan, and it just is rich and warm, creamy. So I thought for these mushrooms that would be a perfect color. But of course, once you are going with a light color over a darker surface, it does take more coats of paint. So I believe it took me, I think, 3 coats to fully cover this little stool here, which you can see I just had that little tiny sample, and it actually did the entire project. So you can go a long way with the DIY paint because they are so pigmented. But like I said, you know, you just take your time, let it dry in between each coat, and then once it's all set and ready, we will decoupage the top. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and with my DIY's liquid patina, and I'm going to do a starter strip, but you can see here it's kind of way crooked, and so I do lift it up, reposition it. You do have a little bit of time, and especially with these rice papers, they're pretty easy to manipulate. So I was able to just lift it up and start over, move it over, and it's good to go. So you want to make sure when you're putting your liquid patina or your medium down, like I put the blob down at the bottom there, that way you don't have a big ridge underneath where it starts and stops. And I always try to work my way from the middle out, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my liquid patina on top completely, cover it, and let that dry. Once it's dry, then I'm going to go ahead in with my little finger sander again. It's my little lifesaver. But while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and do the wet distress again. So just taking a wet baby wipe, and because it was a blue, the mushrooms on top have some blue in there, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of distress that back, bring some of that blue back out, and it would match really well. So I'm going to go ahead and just do all of just the edges, and I actually do the rim as well. And I think this little stool just turned out super cute, and I really hope it sells. Mushrooms seem to be all the rage still, so I'm going to be making a lot of those for fall. And I did do a video already with some cloth fabric mushroom tops, which turned out really cute. And I did end up going to the store to get some more of the like the crushed velvet fall colors, like the browns and the greens and the reds and deep oranges. And so I'll be making those kind of mushrooms, which will be fun. So I'm going to continue this, and then now we're going to go in with that finger sander. Always go in a downward motion. That way it's going to just take the pieces off that need to come off and nothing else. So I kind of started going at an angle down too, and that seemed to work a lot better. And it doesn't take much effort. I think I have like a 60 or an 80 grit on there, so I don't want to push too hard because then it'll remove the paint as well. You can see on the sides there where the decoupage paper stops, and it kind of blended in, but I ended up going and getting a little tiny artist brush and taking some of that crinoline paint and just matching the color. I didn't like blend way in or anything. I just put, because it was a whiter edge, I ended up just putting that crinoline color on there, and that seemed to blend it fine. I think it still turned out really, really cute. And then once that was all set and dried, I did go through with the liquid patina and sealed the top again. Now, just in case somebody wants to use this and have something sitting on it, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be sealed really well. So I did the liquid patina, I did it 3 coats just to be on the safe side. You can always use Big Top or any other kind of top coat, and that will work just fine as well. So that's going to be the final project for today's video. Let me know what you all think. What was your favorite one? I'm gonna have to go with the little folder holders because the salvage pieces just have my heart. I just think it's so quick and easy that you can turn something like something that people would just trash into something gorgeous. So these are definitely my favorite, and I'm going to definitely be looking for more pieces of wood, other items that I can put these little sticks in. So thank you to Julie from Julie's Designs and Science for the idea. I think it's amazing, and I don't quite know what I'm going to be doing for next Tuesday's video yet, but I'm sure it'll be something fun, so stay tuned for that. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye!
Headlights on the highway, if you only knew